So just reflecting on, I guess, some things that I've learnt on the mission field. One of the, I mean, there's lots you learn over the years. We've now been in Alice Springs for 9 years, and just thinking of one sometimes is not easy. But there's just one thing that I really feel like God just put on my heart just to share for any missionary, whether they're on the field already or whether they're considering going on the field, and that's this whole thing of, you know, the purpose of why we go there in the first place. Are we going there to be obedient to God's call, or are we going because, you know, we want to do something, impact or feel good about ourselves, or all those, you know, this could be a hundred of different reasons why we head out, but. I think one of the things we early on were challenged in the first few years is that, and I remember Roland saying this as well, that God owes us nothing, and sometimes we think we're going to get to a place, and you know, because of what we do, revival will break out and things will happen, miracles will happen, and without realising it, our heart motive for being there is already switched. You know, if we originally it was something that God called us to, we're suddenly looking for things to make us feel good about what we're doing and who we are, and losing the whole focus. And, you know, and in the many times there's times where, you know, there's hard times when you're on the mission field and you're not seeing a lot of fruit, and sometimes you can easily get into that place of feeling like, God, what's going on? And I've always just found that encouraging, just to remember that word, that God owes us nothing, and the reason we're here is because we're obedient to Him, and not for all these other things that happen around us. And anything that happens is just a blessing from God. Any miracle we see is actually a blessing and meant for above and beyond, and something out of God's goodness that He gives to us to encourage us. But it's not the reason we're there. We're not there because we want to see revival. We're not there because we want to see healings and miracles and lives transformed. We're there because we want to obey God. We want to, you know, fulfill His call on our life. And one of the scriptures that often speaks to me, which I'm just going to look up now, from John 4. I'm always challenged by that. John 4, when Jesus meets that Samaritan woman, and they have that encounter and that time, they're talking, communicating, and at the end of it, Jesus says, the disciples come because Jesus hasn't eaten. Disciples come with their lunch and say, Jesus, have some food. And I just love this response he has. And he says to them, I have food to eat that you do not know about. And then they start to wonder what Jesus is talking about. And the food that, you know, I believe the food that Jesus has eaten is just this miracle of this encounter, that God's actually given some spiritual food for him to feed off with this life that's been transformed in front of him. But Jesus goes on further and he says, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to completely finish his work. And that's the key there. It's like, you know, our purpose is to do the will of him, the one who sent us. He's the one that sent us, and to completely finish his work, whatever he does. And so, you know, I continually fall back on that whole thing in the hard times and the good times, and every time we have a testimony, I'm so grateful. And it's not so much about how amazing the testimony is, it's always about the heart and how the person's been changed in the heart. And when God, you know, the greatest, I always preach, the greatest miracle is salvation. And it doesn't matter what the miracle looks like, if someone's heart is moved and they come to salvation, that's such a gift to be part of and to see and experience. And that's spiritual food to me when things like that happen. And that's what keeps us going in those hard times. We remember those times, we remember the place, and we remember the real reason we're there. That's to obey God and his will